Hello and welcome to today's video. This is my book unhaul, potentially the final book unhaul of the year, I think. So very exciting. I'm getting rid of 50 books. I've got the final pile to the side here ready to show, so you will see current me at the end of this video as well. But I've been filming this now for about 3.5, maybe even 4 weeks, and just slowly taking my time to go through my books and decide what I want and what I don't want. There were some very obvious ones at the start that you will see, and they were just, you know, they've been on my shelves, I put them to the side, I didn't care about them anymore. And then there's been others that I've really had to try and like give time. There were some books that had DNFs that were in a pile to the side of the bookcases already, and overall, yeah, we got rid of 50 books, so I'm really excited to show them all off and excited to get rid of them as well. I've split them into piles of like ones I'm giving away, ones I'm like donating to either free little libraries or charity shops, ones I am just sending off, and then ones that I'm going to put on my vintage to sell, which are in basically almost new condition. So yeah, that is kind of what's going on today. 50 books we're getting rid of. I'll take you through all of them, we'll look at them all, and yeah, all of these books I'm 100% confident in, so like there's no need to feel like, oh, like you might really enjoy this book. I've decided in my own head that any of the books I'm getting rid of that I still feel like there's a slight inkling I could enjoy, I can just get again later on in life. Like I'm not going to read them for at least the next 5 years, probably 10, and yeah, I'm good. So I do feel good about all the books that are going. I feel like I've freed up space, I've made space, and I've got the books off my shelf downstairs, which is my red shelves, that didn't excite me, that I didn't enjoy, that I didn't love, and I've got some books off my TBR shelves up here that I'm not excited about anymore and I don't want to read. So yeah, really excited. Let's just get into the video. I will start taking you through the process 3.5, 4 weeks back when we started this, and we'll count through the books together. Hello, so I'm about to decorate for Halloween, and I decided before putting things all over the bookshelves, let's do a quick unhaul. I don't think you're going to see this video for a while because this isn't going to be a quick unhaul. I, for a while now, have needed to have a proper look through all of my bookshelves. The ones I've read up here, and also my unread ones in the office. So yeah, this is just going to be the first pass of the red shelves, just anything that is ready to go, get gone. So that's what I'm doing. Hopefully you enjoyed. No, I'll tell you about all of them at the end. So I'll probably just put these in a pile. But yeah, I'm going to film looking through these shelves and deciding what's got to go. Hello, we're unhauling some books again. So, I've got this entire bag, which is what I brought up from the bedroom, and I've already got this big pile here of like books that have been DNF'd or moved aside, or I've decided I don't want it anymore. So we'll go through these first, have like a count, figure out what number we're on. I'll also organise them into the 3 piles that I want, which is books to donate, books to sell, and books that I think family or friends might like. Are you going to be helpful? Jafar might be helpful, you might just get in the way, mightn't you? Yeah. But we'll do that with the books that I've already decided, and then I want to go through these bookshelves. These are my unread shelves, so I do find it more difficult to unhaul from these. But I think what I might do is there's quite a few books on there where I'm unsure about them, but I wouldn't feel happy just getting rid of them. But I might do a pile of books to just like kind of read the first few chapters of, and just kind of figure out if I do like them, if I don't like them. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. I've been collecting these books for a few years now, and my reading tastes have changed. I just feel like there will end up being some that can be got rid of. So yeah, that's the plan for today. I think this is like the second day of me sitting down doing this. For you, it would have been moments ago that I sorted out the books in the bedroom. For me, it was about 2-3 weeks ago. So yeah, been a little while. I guess we should just count them first and go through them. So I'm getting rid of Loveless by Alice Oseman, Radio Silence by Alice Oseman, and Solitaire by Alice Oseman. I think those are all of the Alice Oseman ones I'm getting rid of. Oh no, one more. And I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman. These are all great books that when I read them I enjoyed them. When I read them I had a good fun time with them. But I just don't need them anymore. I was already a bit too old to get like the full messaging and for them to really like mean loads to me. Like I know all of these books mean so much to so many people. They were fine, like I enjoyed them, I had a good time, but I didn't learn anything from them. They didn't help me in any way, sort of thing. So yeah, I think they'll help others more, and I'm never going to reread them, honestly. Like I know the stories now, I can remember the stories, I'm never going to reread them. They just don't mean anything to me anymore. As much as I enjoyed them at the time, they don't mean anything anymore. So those are the first 4 to go. Then we have The Marlowe Murder Club. I read this recently. It's book 1 of a series. I have no interest in continuing the series, and it was just mediocre for me. It's on a shelf downstairs with a lot of other like cozy mysteries, like murder mysteries. And the rest of them I'm happy about. This one I'm not so happy about. Except for this one. This is Dale for Artists. That was also on that shelf. I read this a while ago, and I thought I might keep it, but it's part of a series and I just have no interest in continuing the series. Like I don't know, I didn't love the book, I didn't love how it was centered. Book 2, it looks like it's centered even more around things that I don't really like or jive with. I have no interest in continuing on. I really like the cover, I really like the vibe of the book. I just don't think the story itself worked that much for me. Like I think I still gave it like 3.5 stars, something like that. Like it wasn't bad by any means, it just wasn't my sort of cozy mystery. It was very young, it was very... The mystery wasn't really to do with the murder. It was more of like a, there's a murder, no, let's have loads of silly exploits to try and hide this. And I don't know, it just didn't really work for me. Then I'm getting rid of The Road Trip. This is the 3rd Beth O'Leary book that I've read. I really enjoyed the first 2. I'm keeping the first 2. That is The Switch and The Flatshare. Really enjoyed those, so I'm keeping them. This one didn't work for me. I just don't care for Second Chance. I didn't know it was that before going into it. I just have no interest. Yeah, if you enjoy Second Chance, you might enjoy this. For me, I couldn't see past that. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the vibes, and I just didn't really like how we went with it. Yeah, it was disappointing, especially after, you know, I think the first 2 books from Beth O'Leary that I read were like still to this day some of the only like romance books that I've like properly thoroughly enjoyed. And they kind of made me feel like I might actually enjoy the genre as a whole, and I don't think I've found one that I've properly enjoyed since then. So yeah, this has got to go because it's one I didn't enjoy. Then I'm going to get rid of the Grishaverse trilogy. This is, I don't know if this is the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and it's part of the Grishaverse. I'm going to get rid of these. I haven't got rid of them for ages because these are some of the first books that I tabbed. But like I don't think I highlighted or wrote anything in them. I think at one point I got really annoyed at a character and I just wrote in one of them like fuck off or something, but I can't find it, so maybe I didn't. Maybe that's a different book I'm thinking of. But yeah, so we've got Shadow and Bone, then Siege and Storm, then Ruin and Rising. And I don't know, this just didn't really work for me. I know a lot of people love this, it just didn't work for me. I kind of hated all of our characters, and every time I thought something I felt like was good and would progress the story in a way that I would like happened in this trilogy, it somehow got undone by magical malarkey. And yeah, some of the characters that I really hated, it's too spoilery to say, but essentially when the outcome looked preferable for how I felt about them, they ended up not being the eventual outcome. And I also really like the baddie. Like, I feel like this would have been way more interesting if we could have just followed the baddie. Yeah, getting rid of that. And then I'm also getting rid of Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. This is a duology that's potentially going to eventually have more than just a duology of books. I think I've just realised I don't really care about this world anymore. I was intrigued by there is another duology out. I was intrigued, and I think I was keeping all of these because I was like, well, what if I really enjoy that duology if I end up reading it? But honestly, like, I didn't like these. Like, I think if I would have read these when I was getting into reading, when like I was getting into reading and getting into fantasy and getting into this sort of story, I would have enjoyed them more. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with them. I just, yeah, they didn't do anything for me. I was bored, and they're very predictable, and I just didn't really care for them. So those two are going to 12 so far. Then I'll leave this one for a minute. I'm also going to get rid of My Sister the Serial Killer. I just didn't vibe with this book. I kept it for a while because I thought I might reread it like when I'm older and enjoy it more, but you know what, it just didn't work for me. I've seen other people review this since I've read this and give it really good reviews, and I've read those reviews and I'm like, do you know what, like, I agree with everything you are saying. Those things were just negatives for me rather than positives. I agree with everything you're saying. I just really hated those things. So I don't think this is ever going to work for me. I don't think it's a bad book. I don't think it's a bad book at all. It's just not the sort of book that I tend to read. It is very... I think for me it is important to... You don't have to like the main character, but I feel like for me it's important to at least understand them and understand why they're doing things, and I couldn't do that in this book. So I'm getting rid of Milk and Honey. I don't know what I'll do with this because I think I did highlight in it, I think. Or did I only use tabs? I don't know. I'm going to have to go through the ones with tabs in and see if I actually wrote them or not. But yeah, this was unfortunately just a poetry collection that didn't work for me. I'm really getting into poetry. I'm buying a lot of it, reading a lot of it. And honestly, I'm able to figure out a lot of it in store when I see it, flicking through it and like reading a couple and knowing if it likes me. This is one where I read a couple and I thought it would work for me, and when I read it properly, it did not. I didn't like it. It's just not the sort of poetry I like. Okay, so then I'm going to start combining the books that I brought up from the bedroom along with this pile here. So let's move this pile over. Okay, so on this pile is the Amber Spyglass, and that is because I DNF'd it. I'm also removing from the bedroom the first two books in this series, which is Northern Lights and The Subtle Knife. I loved these when I was a kid. I read all of them when I was probably like 11 or 12, and I can remember really enjoying it and really loving it, and it just didn't work for me as an adult. I had a lot of problems with it, and I didn't really enjoy the writing style. I don't think I'll read anything else by Philip Pullman. Like, I just didn't vibe with the writing style. It was very long. I didn't vibe with any of the characters. I didn't really understand them, and for me, the final book, I just couldn't get into it all. Even though I didn't massively love these, I was listening to the audiobooks mainly, and they were easy enough to get through, and they were easy enough to like follow the story along and like see what was happening. And like, although I wouldn't say I loved the books, they were an enjoyable time to read and follow along with. This one I just couldn't get into it all, and I think I made it, I don't think I even made it 100 pages in. I think I made it probably around the 80-page mark, and I was just like, you know what, this is doing nothing for me, and I don't think I'm gonna get anything out of reading it, so I DNF'd it. Like, yeah, so getting rid of all three because there's no point keeping the first two. Then also on this pile is Darkness on the Edge of Town. I realised I just don't care about continuing on with the series, so this one I've read. This is Suspicious Minds. I read this like whilst the Stranger Things series was coming out. I think series 3 or 4 was coming out. One of them was coming out when I was reading this, and I was just really enjoying learning more about the backstory and knowing more, and I thought I'd want to continue on and read the whole series. But do you know what, I decided I actually don't mind. I'm not that into Stranger Things anymore, and I don't even know if I'll watch the final season, and therefore I also feel like it doesn't really matter what happens in these books to me. I've just lost interest, I think, is the basics. Like, I've kind of, yeah, just decided that if I've lost interest in the TV show, nothing is going to make me pick up the books. Then I DNF'd Angel Fall. I didn't make it very far into this. I just couldn't vibe with it. I was having a few issues at the very start with like figuring out the pace and what was going on in the writing. And I just realised, you know what, I actually don't vibe with this. Yeah, one of the things I want to go through is reading the first few chapters of all of the YA series that are left on my shelf. So I'm still loving a lot of YA, but I think some of the older ones, I think this came out in like 2010 or something, just aren't working for me anymore. Originally published in 2012. So yeah, I think some of them that are a bit older just aren't working anymore. I just don't care enough. Then I decided to get rid of Bimbo and Topsy. I've been trying to read this for a while. As a child, I loved this. I read this so many times, and do you know what, I am happy to leave it like that because I had issues with this book. It has not aged well. Reading it with an adult brain, I just couldn't. It was reading the memory as well. Like for me, remembering this book, like I didn't get far enough into it where I feel like it's ruined the memory completely. I can still look at this book with fondness and with the time in childhood that I was reading it, and I can vaguely remember the story, but not really. And that's why I wanted to refresh myself. But as it turns out, I really don't want to refresh myself. Honestly, if the things that were happening in this book that actually happened, I feel like both the kids in the book and the pets in the book would probably all be dead by now, especially the dog. I'm pretty sure they gave the dog chocolate. I'm pretty sure that was one of the things I got to, and I was like, do you know what, I can't continue on with this. There's just a lot of issues I was having with it, so we're getting rid of it. I'll do this one first. I also DNF'd The Maid. I just wasn't vibing with it again. It's one, I can't tell you exactly what was wrong with it. I think it was a lot slower than I was expecting it to be, and I think it was one of those where the way it's written, you need to be fully absorbed into the story. And like honestly, like I was reading this whilst doing DIY. I wasn't 100% like paying attention, but I still don't feel like I missed anything. Like I could still feel like I told you what happened in the first few chapters with like fairly decent accuracy. This is one where, although I didn't really vibe with the main character, I could understand what they were doing. I could understand them, and I essentially, like, our main character just needed like, extra help, and at least to the point I was getting at in the book, was not getting any of that. Was just being taken advantage of by a lot of people. It seemed like it didn't get to a point where it was like that, except for with one person who was like the boss at work, who it felt to me like was taking advantage of the main character, but it felt like it was going to get to that with a lot of other people in the story as well, and I just didn't want to read it. I just didn't. It was going to be depressing, and I wasn't having fun with it. It was meant to be a fun little murder mystery, and I was not having fun. Then on my red shelves was the first School Dog Real Pleasant book, this one here, and then I tried to read the second one, and you know what, I just couldn't get into it. I couldn't get into it at all. I don't know how far I made it into this. I was mainly listening to it, but I think I made it over halfway. It took me 3 attempts to try and read it. I think the third time I made it quite a way in, I just realised this I loved. I read so quickly and I wasn't getting that with this, and I didn't really care how our story was expanding. I couldn't, yes, I could have read this sooner, but I couldn't have read it at the age I feel like I would have loved it. Like, I feel like if I'd have started picking this series up and I was like 8, 9, 10 and continuing on with it that way, it would have been great. But like, I can remember getting the first book at like one of my last book fairs at school, so I must have been in like year 5 or 6, so I was like 12, 13 age when these started coming out. Yeah, I think these books, well, obviously I can't talk about all of them because, spoiler alert, I thought I was going to love these, so I've been slowly collecting them from all the charity shops I've been finding them in. I have a lot to get rid of here. But yeah, I think they were a lot of fun. I just don't think they're for me anymore, which is really unfortunate. This is one where I'm actually a little bit sad about it. Like, these are all books that I feel like I could have genuinely enjoyed at a different age, at a different point in my life, but I'm not there anymore, and I would rather pass them on and have like actual, like, you know, kids who will actually enjoy them read them, rather than me just owning them and not even really liking them. Yeah, I think there's only like 2 or 3 books missing out of the entire series here that I just never got round to finding, so someone will be able to find all of these. Okay, so that is already 33 books that we're getting rid of. Those are 33 books. Now, I haven't touched these shelves yet, so I think my plan is now just to look through them and figure out what I want to give a little read of. This pile here is already a pile of books that I'm umming and ahhing about. I'm not sure if I'm going to like, so I definitely need to look at those at some point. Then I really need to start reading some of these. These are like thrillery, a little bit murder mystery, maybe a little bit just mystery, maybe. I don't think there's any horror there, but yeah, they're all that kind of vibe. I do need to get through some of those as well. And then in terms of this shelf here, what have I got? This is a series that I've already read the author and I think I like the writing style. This is fine. This is fine. These are all adult series. This one I've already started. I've currently got book 2 downstairs, not sure if I want to continue. Book 1 in this series is up there for me to try. What is actually here that I want to look through? I don't know how many books is going to be here. It should be there a sec. Let's have a proper look. I feel like Half Bad is a YA series that I haven't started yet. I should probably give that a few chapters a go. Same with Overall Rising. I should give that a go because I don't know if I'm going to like it, but I have just read a book by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff and I did like it. I just read Illuminate, so I think I'll like that. I should definitely give this one a go. I picked it up just because I can remember watching the show when I was younger. Okay, they're not going to all stay up there. I should give Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children a go, that's for sure. And then just whatever we've got down here. These 4 books here that I want to give the first 2-3 chapters a go. Just make sure I like the writing style mainly. And make sure that I can vibe with it, because a lot of YA I'm not anymore, like honestly. Like there's still loads that I'm loving, I'm just having to be a bit more selective as to what I bring in. And then there's this whole pile of books here which are all books that I haven't tried the first few chapters of and I probably should have before bringing them in. And then both my contemporary and my like classic section is kind of tucked away, so we'll get those out at some point and go through those. And I will probably just check in, I don't know, probably in another week or two, so once I've gone through all of these and read the first few chapters and decided what I'm keeping, what I'm not, and once I've been able to go through the proper contemporary and classics. And I think the only other books that I need to go through downstairs in the living room, I've got quite a lot of books that are like pretty editions of classics that I've picked up just because they're pretty editions, and I really need to look at them and decide, am I ever going to read them? Because I don't want books in the house that I'm not going to read. Hello, ignore my hands, head on disaster. I think the last time I sat down to record for this video was when I was waiting for my computer to catch up and export some stuff. And once again I'm here, so I did a bit of reading of first chapters and like just getting into books, and there's quite a pile here that I'm not going to read, so let's talk about them. First of all, Powder Monkey. I like the idea of this, just realistically I'm not going to get to it, I'm not going to read it, and I think it sounds like it's going to have a different sort of humour to what my sense of humour is like, so I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to get rid of Our Sweet Mystery of Life. Honestly, I'm just not going to get to it. The I realised I only wanted this because I've never read Roald Dahl as an adult. I realised I don't care. Then I tried reading some of Sabriel. I just couldn't get into it. And there's so much like YA fantasy that I still want to read. This is one I can't get into. It's worth just getting rid of. So I'm also getting rid of the second book in the series, which is Lyriel. I'm then getting rid of Small Pleasures. This is a shame because I did think I'd enjoy this one. A lot of historical stuff just doesn't work for me. I just didn't enjoy how it started, so I'm not going to continue. This one was already one that I was unsure about. Basically, I read a fantasy book by the author last year, I think. Might have been the year before, but I think it's last year. I really didn't enjoy it, but I already owned this one, and this is like a thrillery book by the same author. And this is The Shining Girls. And I've given it a go, but I wasn't sucked into it enough to give it more of a chance with having already not liked the book by the author. I then got rid of Tomorrow When the War Began. I read the first little bit and I was like, this is intriguing, but I've read the film and honestly the way this was written, I was like, I don't know if I'll ever watch the film again, but I have seen the film and I enjoyed it. And from, I think, did I read the first 2 chapters of this, I think? But from that I was like, do you know what, like I can already tell I prefer the film, probably just because of the age I am now. Like if I'd have read this at the young adult age range I might have liked it more. But the way it was written, it was just a bit more simplistic than what I thought it would be based on how the film played out. Bear in mind, I could be wrong about that, I haven't watched the film in like many years. And then I'm also getting rid of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children and the sequel, Hollow City. I loved this. I read Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children and absolutely loved it when I was younger. And I tried to get into it because I don't remember enough about it to continue on with the series, hence the second book, Hollow City, already being here. And I just couldn't get into it. It was just a different writing style to what I read now. And I also think I've read similar books with similar premises that I prefer and would prefer to continue reading. There was literally nothing wrong with it at all. It just, I think it's an age thing. Like as I've got older, I'm no longer interested enough, so I'm also going to be getting rid of those too. So we were on 33, so this takes our total up to 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. I think I'm going to set myself the challenge of trying to get rid of 8 more books, and then this video will be unhauling 50 books. So yeah, I'm probably just going to go through and read a bit of some. There's some that have been on these shelves a while. How am I going to get to? I don't know, but yeah, that'll probably be the next time I check in. I'll do all of that. Okay, so this is my final pile of books. These are all the final books that I've decided need to go, so let's just talk about them. This is Regeneration by Pat Barker. This is the first book of a trilogy, which I didn't realise. I've just found that I really don't vibe with a lot of historical fiction, and this one's about the war, so like it's not what I want to read. This is The Shell Collector. I've started this book 3 times and I've just never been able to get through it. I do think it's a me problem, I don't think it's a book problem, but I just don't see myself being able to get through it, to be honest. It sounds so interesting from the back sounds so interesting, but I just haven't been able to read the book itself, so it's time it went. Then we also have The Luminaries. This is this big and it's historical fiction and it's a family saga. Am I ever going to sit down and read an 832 page historical family drama? Like, no, or at least not current ever is. 10 years time we'll check in and see if maybe my genres and my preferences have changed that much that I might want to pick it up, but right now I don't. Another historical fiction is Once Upon a River. Again, just not what I'm interested in anymore. And that is what I've realised. I've read a few historical books recently that I did enjoy, and I could pinpoint that I didn't enjoy the historical elements of them. I think I really have to be into a book to get into the historical elements as well. So, you know, I've still kept a few. There's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's still 8 up there that I'm like, I should give these a try. Maybe one of these will properly get me into the genre, but I don't see any of the ones I'm getting rid of doing that. Then we have The Miniaturist, another historical fiction. And I got this when it was still a standalone book, and now it's no longer a standalone, it's part of a series, and I don't care that much. And then last but not least, the final 3 books that we're getting rid of are the Chaos Walking trilogy, the first one being The Knife of Never Letting Go. I just don't think I'm going to vibe with this anymore. It is YA, and it doesn't sound like it's a genre I'm going to love, and I've never read this author's writing before. Yeah, I've tried the first little bit, like I've tried reading the first few pages, and I was like, this sounds fine, but it doesn't seem any better than fine. And I'm getting better at DNFing books where I read them and I feel like they're just okay. If I'm not going to love a book, I don't need to read it. Like, there's so many books out there that I love and get absorbed in and like have a great time with. I don't need to read the just okay ones or the less than okay ones. So yeah, that was the final pile. That's everything. That makes the total up to 50 if I've counted correct. Hopefully I have. I mean, I don't mind if it's over 50, but if I'm in editing I end up finding out it's less than 50, you'll probably see me again, because I definitely want to title this video getting rid of 50 books. So yeah, 50 book unhaul I think is what I'm going to go with. But anyway, yeah, that is it from me. I'm getting rid of 50 books. I'm going to actually try and get all of them physically out of the house as quickly as possible as well. Most of them I can do in this next week, and then a few of them I am putting on Vinted, so yeah, they'll just go when they go. But yeah, that is it from me today. I'm gonna try and line the books up somewhere to get a cool thumbnail where you can see them all behind me. I might actually, I don't know if I want to ruin my bookshelves. I feel like I could just like push these in and put them all in front, but maybe there's a side over there. We'll try something. Anyway, still need to take a thumbnail. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed the video. I really hope that you've enjoyed getting rid of all these books with me. I hope if you feel like you're in the same predicament as me and you just need a bit more space, it's helped you along with that. And if you just enjoy watching the video and you have all the bookshelves in the world, well, good for you. I wish it was me. Yeah. Do this video like if you liked it, subscribe down below if you'd like to see more content like this, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.